Trump's approval ratings are already in the negative. Wow, wow. It turns out that when you dismantle various parts of the federal government that people rely on, people look to for support, and you seek to do things like dismantle the Department of Education, and you cut funding across the board for various social programs, and you're seeking to do even more damage to Social Security, to food stamps, to Medicaid. Turns out the American people don't really jive with that. And Donald Trump, okay, no matter what, Donald Trump will have his 30, 35%, 36, 37% maybe support of people who are just off the deep end. Okay, Donald Trump said it best in his first campaign in 2016 when he said, I could go out in the broad daylight on 5th Street or whatever and shoot somebody in broad daylight in the middle of the street and not lose any support. There's some truth to that. I mean, there's some truth to that. It's slightly a hyperbolic statement, but there's a 30, 35, 37% cohort of this country that will support Donald Trump no matter what. Donald Trump could come into there's some of these people's houses and kick their puppy right in the face and steal it from them. And they would go, thank you, Trump, for kicking my puppy in the face. I really appreciate that. But then there's the rest of the country, right? That some of them were hoodwinked into voting for Trump a second time somehow, some way. People fell for this, I will lower prices and inflation that they blamed on Biden and hammered it home. It worked. Okay. It got enough people to go, hey, maybe if we give Trump another chance, maybe he'll get the prices back down. Maybe he'll be different than Biden, and things will be everything. All the prices of everything will suddenly just plummet because Trump's now in office. But what we're seeing is not that. What we're seeing is prices have remained stubbornly high. Many of Trump's promises that he has made, such as ending the Ukraine-Russian conflict in 24 hours, have fallen flat. And there's an opportunity here for Democrats to, I believe, pounce on a president that is becoming more and more unpopular by the day. So let's look at some of these numbers real quick from CNN's Harry Enton, who did a pretty entertaining little piece here on Donald Trump's approval rating and how it is plummeting, in fact.
Today officially marks 2 months in office for President Trump, and new polls are revealing just how voters are feeling about the start of his second term. CNN's chief data analyst, Harry Enton, is here to run the numbers for us. All right, how is Trump doing compared to where he was just after he was sworn in January?
Yeah,
Very different numbers, I'm assuming.
Yeah, they're very different. They're very different. I mean, look, here's the bottom line.
Wow.
Trump's net job approval rating. Look, in January 2025, he was on the positive side of the ledger. He was at plus 7 points. Look now, he has come back down. He is underwater, right? He's doing a little bit of the breaststroke, maybe doing a little bit of the butterfly. He's at minus 2 points. And it's not just in one poll, it's multiple. CNN, Fox, Ipsos, NBC, and Quinnipiac University, 999, the American folks are saying, oy vey, ay caramba.
Okay, well, that was a lot of different languages. Thank you, Yiddish and all. How unusual is it for a president at this point to have a net negative? Let's go back in the annals of history.
I love going to the history books. I did quite well on my SAT 2 in U.S. history. Presidents with negative net approval ratings at this point of term since 1937, going back to the second term of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Well, there are two men on the screen, and they're the same two men, Trump in 2017 And Trump in 2025, he only matches himself. I guess the good news is he's doing a little bit better than he was 8 years ago at this point. But when you're only matching yourself and you're the only dude who's underwater at this point, not particularly good. Every single other president at this point in a term, either first or second, was above water. So Donald Trump likes to make history, but this is a type of history Donald Trump does not like to make.
How is he doing when it comes to the issues? Because that seems to be the big thing for 2025, which is a little different than 2017.
Yeah. So look, here are the issues. Sometimes I like lists. You know, I like lists. I like lists for writing out my groceries. Basically, it's a 2-line list. It's like cream soda and popcorn. But on this particular one, Trump's net approval rating on major issues, positive. Immigration. How about negative? The economy, federal budget, foreign policy, healthcare, tariffs. Underwater on all of these issues, and that is what is dragging Donald Trump down. People came in with good expectations for Trump, better than for the first term. Yes, he's doing slightly better than he was during the first term at this point, but compared to everybody else, he's doing far worse. And the reason he's doing far worse is Donald Trump is not meeting the voters' expectations on the issues that matter to them, especially, of course, there you go.
This is the reason why a lot of people say they voted for him and why he's in office right now. So that's a big deal.
The whole kit and caboodle, and he is failing them in the voters' minds.
And
So, as you can see here, Donald Trump is underwater on his net approval on the economy, the budget, foreign policy, healthcare, and tariffs. Wow, right? I mean, when you look at all these different things that Trump is underwater on, it doesn't really take a genius to figure out why his policies are very unpopular, right? He's not doing anything to benefit the working class. He's not doing anything to put money into anyone's pockets other than the 1%. He's not doing anything to guarantee rights or guarantee healthcare as a human right. And we know that these are very, very popular policy positions in America, right? Even the vast majority of Republicans support Medicaid, support Medicare, right? Support Social Security being funded. The vast majority of Republicans see Putin as the bad guy in the Ukraine-Russian conflict. The vast majority of Americans see Canada as a very important ally. And the vast majority of Americans do not want 25% tariffs on Canada. They do not want 25% tariffs on Mexico. And as I was talking about earlier, you're going to have that 30, 35, 37%. They're going to go along with whatever Trump is doing no matter what. But really what we're seeing here is an opportunity as these policies continue to have disastrous effects, unfortunately, on the American people. What is being presented here is an opportunity for the Democrats to continually pounce on the fallout of this administration, to shove the presidency down Donald Trump's throat and make it known just how little he is doing to actually work on and solve the issues that everyday Americans face. And it was touched on there with the economy being something that is very, very important to the vast majority of voters. And a lot of voters, as was mentioned in that CNN clip, voted for Trump solely based on the economy. So when the stock market, is crashing because of Trump's tariff threats that he continually has levied, and he's threatened to make them even worse than they are, people are going, hey, what about fixing the economy? What about lowering prices, right? Trump is doing none of that. And I knew back in the campaign that Trump wasn't going to accomplish anything that he was saying that he was going to accomplish at his rallies and his interviews. And I feel the vast majority of America felt that. And unfortunately, what we're seeing is that Trump benefited from low velocity voters, right? Low propensity voters who showed up based on Trump's talking points on the economy. But these same people that showed up for Trump, right? They're expecting results from Donald Trump. And as the days tick on and these results do not show, Trump is only going to become more and more unpopular. MAGA is going to become more and more unpopular because they don't have any solutions for anybody in this country except for their billionaire buddies such as Elon Musk. They don't have any plan. They don't have any solution. They're trying to make this country into a money laundering system that funnels money into their bank accounts. That's all that Trump cares about. That's it. Making his billionaire friends happy because he seeks their approval and he wants to feel like he's part of, he's accomplished. And nothing will satisfy this man's ego other than his billionaire buddies patting him on the head and telling him what a good job he did. That's who's in charge of our country right now. And the Democrats have an opportunity to seize on Trump's increasing unpopularity. Let's hope they can adopt some populist messaging that focuses on a core message, a core economic message that lifts up the middle class. And if they do so, they will certainly reap the benefits of this administration having no plan and no path for making anyone's lives better other than the billionaires.